Let us now turn to the text of the Bhagavad Gita. The aim of this series is to study each verse of the Gita in light of the commentary of Adi Shankaracharya and also draw some meaningful life lessons as we go along. The Gita has 700 verses and they are spread over 18 chapters. The Gita is attributed to Vyasa, who was also the author of the Mahabharata. The Gita is actually found right in the middle of the epic Mahabharata in the section titled Bhishma Parva. It is, as we know, a dialogue between Arjuna and Sri Krishna, and it took place right before the 18-day battle of Kurukshetra began. Now, I suggest the students to familiarize themselves with the background story and the circumstances which led to the battle of Kurukshetra, as we may not go into it in too much detail. But I will give you a little information which can help you understand why the battle took place. So basically, the battle was an outcome of a royal family feud. The story is set in the kingdom of Hastinapur, where the royal family had two sons, Pandu and Dhritarashtra. When the battle of Kurukshetra was happening, Dhritarashtra was the ruling king, while Pandu had passed away long ago. The battle is between the sons of Pandu and Dhritarashtra, who are known as Pandavas and Kauravas respectively. So it is essentially a battle between brothers. Dhritarashtra's eldest son, was Duryodhan, who had refused to give the Pandavas their rightful share in the kingdom. He had deceived them on numerous occasions. He had exiled them, and even after the Pandavas had served their term in exile, he refused to give them anything, not even a single house. The Pandavas sent a number of peace envoys to King Dhritarashtra and to Duryodhan, but to no avail. Even Krishna went to peacefully resolve the matter, but Duryodhan was adamant that the Pandavas will have to fight if they want anything from the kingdom. So it was not like that the battle was chosen even before trying for peace. There's a whole large section in the story where numerous peace talks are initiated, but they all eventually fail. And so the battle is taken up only as the last resort. The people of Hastinapur were always in favor of the Pandavas, as they were more just in their ruling. Thus, the Pandavas were not fighting for the kingdom per se, but only to restore justice. The characterization in the story is also very interesting, as it is loaded with symbolism. So, for example, Dhritarashtra is blind, symbolizing his blindness towards right and wrong. He allowed the battle to happen even though he could have stopped it. He allowed a lot of wrongdoing to happen right under him, but and he could have stopped it, but he turned a blind eye towards it, as they say. So he was blind both naturally and figuratively. So he symbolizes ignorance, he symbolizes a person who is blind to right and wrong. And his son, Duryodhan, is depicted as a person who is also unable to choose between right and wrong. He is consumed with desire, greed, and jealousy towards the Pandavas. He therefore represents all the base human tendencies. The Pandavas, on the other hand, are characterized very differently. The eldest of the Pandavas is Yudhishthir, who is presented as someone who always tried to do the right thing. Though he too failed to make the right choices on many occasions, his overall character is that of a righteous human being. Arjuna, who is the leader of the army for the Pandavas, his chariot was being driven by Sri Krishna. Now, Krishna is a cousin of the Pandavas. Their mother is Krishna's Bua, or Krishna's father's sister. So Krishna is Pandava's cousin, and he is also a very dear friend of Arjuna. But Krishna is presented in the story as an incarnation or avatar of Ishvara, God. Krishna is God incarnate, and that is what he represents in the Gita. The battle between the Pandavas and Kauravas symbolically represent the battle between the base human tendencies and the higher and pure abilities, both of which are present within each of us. And so this battle is representative of an inner conflict which is ongoing within every human being. The burden of this inner conflict unnerves Arjuna right before the battlefield. When he sees his own brothers and relatives on the opposite side, he begins to tremble. He is horrified at what is going to happen to his own family members, how so many men are going to die. He forgets all about the cause of justice and tells Krishna that he cannot fight. He gives a long speech stating his reasons to not fight, which is what makes up the first chapter of the Gita. Krishna patiently hears Arjuna out and does not say anything in the first chapter. So we will now see the first chapter, we will go through it, but we will not see each verse in depth in this particular chapter because it only sets the stage. It only, it's like a prelude to the main content of the Gita. The main philosophy begins from the 10th verse of chapter 2. That is when Krishna begins to speak really. Even Adi Shankaracharya has began his commentary from that place. So when we come to that verse, we will go in depth into each verse, but till there we will see the text briefly.